Happy Saturday. I'll let you guys start coming on. Today we are talking about bone health, how to make rock hard bones and increase your bone density. So I'll let you guys start coming on. Hope you guys are having a good day. I'm wearing my weighted vest. It's heavy. Whew, I'm feeling heavy today for craft's sake. I just saw you pop on. I'm wearing my weighted vest. We're gonna go over all of this. Happy Saturday, everybody. Thanks you guys for joining me. I know you guys got a lot of choices that you can do on this Saturday, but you want to learn about bone health and bone density. For God's sake, this is the place, because that's where we're going to spend an hour talking about how to make rock hard bones. And right now I'm wearing a weighted vest, so I'm going to take this off for a second. I'll put this back on in a little bit and tell you guys all about some of the latest stuff coming out to help increase bone density. Oh my God, can you imagine if this fell off? Oh. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm a little crooked here. There we go. Hi, Germany. Hi, Christine. I'm having a little mushroom coffee. I've been running around getting ready for this morning. But I want to talk about bone density and why. Because it's super, super important. But the title of this was, rock hard bones. But I want to be very clear about something. Hold on one second, my nose is running. I want to be very clear about something. Bones are not rock hard. They are constantly remodeling. They are active. They are alive. So when we think about bones, we often think about them as this thing that's just in our bodies that's holding us up. But they're so much more complex than that. So they're constantly remodeling. They're active. They're alive, like I was saying. We have these things called osteoclasts, which break down damaged bone. It's super important because we don't want damaged bones in there. If our bones are always remodeling, both the osteoclasts that break down old bone and the osteoblasts that form new bone are both super, super important. So bones are they can actually slightly bend. So when we think about a bone, we think of something rigid, right, that can't bend, but it's more pliable than what we had thought before, and it's not completely made up of calcium. So I'm just gonna debunk some of the myths. Bones are not primarily made up of calcium. They are primarily made up of collagen matrix, and that consists of about 50% of bones. The other 50% is filled in with calcium and things like boron, phosphate, other types of minerals. They fill in those gaps. So when you look at a bone, this is different stages of osteoporosis. But this is a healthy bone. You'll see it's very dense, right? So it's filled in with different stuff. When you get to be severe osteoporosis or osteoporosis, you can see like the gaps in here. Calcium and other minerals fill these gaps in, so it makes your bones more dense. But bones are not primarily made up of calcium. Somebody just asked, Marcia said, is Modere collagen good for bones too? Absolutely, and we're going to get into that because collagen will strengthen bones. Now, I wish I would have had all my stuff out, but I didn't. One second. Well, you know what? I'll get to that when I get to that. So why, first of all, is bone density so important? Yeah, Marcia, Modere, I believe, is the best, to me anyways, and based on the science that I've uncovered, Modere collagen matrix is by far the best, the most absorbable. And so you do want to start looking at different foods and different things like that to increase the bones. But first of all, why are they so important? If we don't have strong bones, and if our bones continue to decrease in terms of their density, when we fall, because everybody falls, I fell last week, it just happens. If your bones are not strong, you're way more susceptible to fractures. And fractures, I know this is going to sound kind of ridiculous, but 50% of people over the age of 50 will fall and have an osteoporosis type of, like a bone density issue that will cause a breakage in the bone. Think about that statistic. 50%. I don't know how many of you guys are over 50. I'm 56 here. But 50% of people over the age of 50 will eventually, in their lifetime, have a fracture because of a decrease in bone density. And listen, it's not just, it's not like when we were younger, you break a bone and you get a cast and everybody in your class signed your cast, No, when you're older and you break bones, it can lead to this plethora of negative health effects, right? You break a bone, you're less likely to exercise. It'll take you out of exercising. You become more sedentary and decreases circulation. When you break a bone and when you're older, everything is affected, including your cardiovascular health, including your mental health. It's very, very, very important, okay? So the statistics of the prevalence is going to be shocking because osteoporosis, which is defined as that porous bone, right? It's that lack of those minerals. It's that porous bone. Over 200 million people suffer from this worldwide. 200 million people. That's a lot of people with poorly dense bones. Osteoporosis affects an estimated 10 million Americans, with another 44 million Americans having a low bone density. So osteopenia is on its way to osteoporosis. You can see this is what an osteopenia bone looks like as compared to a healthy. So you can see the spaces. Think of it like Swiss cheese. A healthy bone has very small holes of Swiss cheese. An unhealthy bone is full of them. So you see how the connection of the bone is just going to be a lot more crumbly than something over here in the healthier. This is the osteopenia. This is osteoporosis. This is the later stages of osteoporosis. So that's a lot. Osteoporosis is most common in older adults because we're done growing. Your strongest bones that you're going to make are from birth to 20. Can you reverse osteopenia? You can. I'm going to get to that. Look at this. I'm carrying this around on my back. There's so many different things that we can do, but I want to go over the risk factors because if you can understand the risk factors, you can take yourself out of risk. There's some things that we can't, though, okay? Some things that are out of our control. Women, I can't control if I'm a woman. I'm so glad I am. I love being a woman. But women are at a much higher risk, right? Older people, because that's just what happens. Our bone density decreases with age unless we do these hacks, which I'm going to get to. Asian or Caucasian people. Caucasian, if you're Asian, my kids are half Asian. My first husband was Chinese. You're at a higher risk of osteoporosis just for being white or Asian. So we can't control that. Having a smaller build, being petite. I am 5'3", you guys. I am a small person. My mother was 5 foot tall. My aunt was 4'9" at her height, at her highest height. So I come from small people, So if you are a smaller build and you're petite, and you're gonna be able to make this connection in a second. If you're smaller build and you're petite, you're at a higher risk of osteoporosis, and that's because we don't have as much weight to us, right? So if you're somebody who's vegetarian, it's not necessarily the food that you're eating that can increase your risk of osteoporosis or decrease your bone density, but it's that lower BMI. So if you have a lower BMI, if your waist circumference is smaller, if you're more petite, you're at a higher risk of osteoporosis. Now, there's some stuff that we're going to get to increase that bone density. But those are things that are kind of outside of our control, right? So being a smaller build, being white or Asian, having lower hormones. So that's why age plays a factor. When you're in estrogen decline, you're at a higher risk of osteoporosis, and I'm going to get to all of that. If you drink more than 2 alcoholic beverages per day for a man, and I mean regular, not like the big giant beers that you see people drinking at the Dodger Stadium. I mean like a regular alcoholic beverage. If you're having more than 2 of those, if you're a man, and if you're having 1 or more alcoholic beverages, again, a normal glass of wine, a normal cocktail. We seem to be supersizing everything right along with fast foods, right? You got the supersized fries. We're having supersized cocktails these days. A normal sized drink of 1 or more for a woman puts you at a higher risk of osteoporosis. If you're not getting enough vitamin D, if you're not getting enough vitamin K, if your diet is poor, so sugar, processed foods, all of that. If you're inactive, now this next one is going to be a shocker. If you drink soda, at all, you're putting yourself at a higher risk of diminished bone density, and that's because the phosphoric acid in soda will decrease bone. And then also chronic use. Marcia just said I'm in trouble. Chronic. I had a client that woke up with, and she's still my client, and I would never out her, and I think she's on here, but woke up with a Diet Coke. That was her source of caffeine in the morning, and continued to drink Diet Coke throughout the day. So we're working on that. But soda has that phosphoric acid that will literally decrease your bone. It will leach out of your bone. Chronic use of medications like Pepcid AC and Nexium, things like that, will also cause, they lead to decrease in bone density. So now that we know all that shit, how do we build rock hard bones? And again, by rock hard, I mean strong, but pliable and doing what it's supposed to do, right? Those osteoblasts are doing what they're supposed to do. So how do we do that? The first one is food. I'm going to get a couple of these. Can we reverse degeneration of bones? Yes, you can. Your deltoids and arms makes your waist look. Yes. But what about mineral water rich in magnesium, calcium? Mineral water is fine. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just the, because you want the minerals. You want the extra minerals. That helps. That adds into that 50% of a collagen matrix that a bone consists of. Those minerals, magnesium, calcium, all those things kind of fill in the gaps so that you get these strong bones, right? But it's with that phosphoric acid in sodas that are not great. I need Nexium replacement suggestion. I can go over that. When I'm going to go over gut health, I'm going to have Matt Major on, and we're going to talk about some gut health. I've already done a whole show on microbiome, but there are some other ways that we can, especially through food, instead of reaching for Nexium, to go on an anti-acidic food diet is something that we can talk about. And I know, Lisa, you're in the Instagram club, that club that's $9.99, where we have that group chat. I'd love to talk to you about that in there and get you a replacement for Nexium. Okay, let's talk about food, because food is medicine and food can build better bones. But there's a few key things, okay? So you have to get enough calcium. And I'm not talking about, oh my God, this question just came up and I have got to take it. Can bone loss be prevented in the face? You guys, I have so many clients that come to me and say, oh my God, I feel like I've lost my cheek pads. I need filler, I need this. And they have lost bone in your face. Now, when we're talking about our bodies and we're talking about our health and we're talking about longevity, I have fewer ears perked up than when I say, if you don't take care of your bones, your face is going to sag. When I say that, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, take care of my bones. You have to take care of your bones because you lose bone in your face. You lose bone in your face, guess what happens? You get that when we're younger, we've got that upside down egg. When we are older, we lose that bone, we lose the fat, this whole thing drops, and then we've got an egg that is bottom heavy. And that is also a loss of fat, but it's a loss of bone. And so what I'm talking about here improves your bone in your whole body. It's not just selective. Oh, I'm going to lift weights with this one, and then this bone is going to get stronger. There's other things that we can do, full body, systemic increase of bone density. And the first way is through food. So you need to make sure you're getting enough calcium. That does not mean taking a calcium supplement. There's numerous research out there that says calcium supplements are bullshit. They do not work the way we think that they work. They do not go into the bone. Oftentimes it can cause hardening of the arteries. It's also not great for a man's prostate. Calcium supplements, no. But you can get a lot of calcium through your diet. It doesn't all have to be milk. I am dairy free. I don't normally have any, unless I go to a friend's house. I don't want to say, ooh, I can't eat that. But I would say 99% of the time, 360 days of the year, I am dairy free. And yet when you look at my calcium, when I'm doing blood tests, my calcium is spot on. And that's coming from vegetables, folks. But that's the truth. That's coming from vegetables. So you can get enough, you need your calcium-rich foods in your diet, like dairy products, but be careful with that. Dairy is underdiagnosed as in terms of sensitivity. Not everybody's allergic to dairy, but there is a big dairy sensitivity. Oftentimes shows up in the skin, oftentimes shows up in inflammation in the body. We don't know we're allergic to dairy or we're sensitive to it, but oftentimes many of us are sensitive to dairy. But calcium-rich foods like spinach, dark leafy greens, fish. I eat a lot of fish. But you have to get enough vitamin D because vitamin D helps the body absorb the calcium. So you can take vitamin D supplements. I didn't get that last question, but you can take vitamin D supplements. I don't actually have the answer to how many milligrams of calcium you need per day to eat, but there's not a lot of calcium deficiency in our diets. There's just not. When you go and get your blood tested, you're going to see that there's a lot more prevalence in a vitamin D deficiency than there is in calcium. We get a lot of calcium in our American diet through our food. And I'm not talking about milk drinkers because I'm not a milk drinker. I'm not a cheese eater. And I get plenty of calcium without a calcium supplement. So just aim for those foods, right? So dark leafy greens, fish, like all the cereals are fortified, but I don't eat cereal because it's literally it's processed food. You know, I always look at cereal as a snack because it is. I look at cereal as a snack, not something that you should start your day with. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel are all high in omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D, which can protect against bone loss. Again, spinach, kale, leafy greens. You guys, we should be eating leafy greens every single day. Every single day. If I have gone a day and not eaten a leafy green, let's say I did a stir fry or I did... This is going to sound nuts, but I'm going to say it anyways. This is my life, you guys. If I've done a stir fry for lunch or I've done an all vegetable soup for lunch, I usually only eat vegetables and as many as I can for lunch. My dinner is different. I will have small amounts of meat. I will eat processed food, not a lot, but I will eat different things for dinner. But from the time I wake up through lunchtime, my diet is spot on. In terms of predominantly plant-based, a wide range of colorful vegetables, nuts, seeds, tofu, all of that kind of stuff, and my calcium levels are great. So, but we also need things like tuna and salmon, mackerel, all of those kind of things. Nuts, seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. This is always on my counter at all times. So on any given day, I know I'm at least getting, well, there's other containers here of nuts. I know I'm at least getting at least four different types of nuts a day. Normally I have walnuts here as well because walnuts are great for your brain. But we've got peanuts and pistachios, almonds. I have sunflower seeds over there. I have pumpkin seeds that I throw on salads and things like that. So all of that is really, really important. Collagen, you need to have. We can get collagen from a lot of different sources. And listen, collagen only comes from animals. Okay, it is the supportive structure in animals. We've got collagen that is our supportive structure. We're an animal, supports our skin, supports our bones, right? All of that stuff. When you're looking at a plant, that supportive structure is fiber. So that's what we're basically looking at. But we want to make sure that we're getting enough collagen into our system because our bones are made primarily up of a collagen matrix. We make our own proteins. We have all of those, we have our essentials that we need that we can only get from diet, but our body makes a lot of protein itself. So I'm not one that is on a high protein diet because that's not what they've discovered is best for longevity. There is a lot of benefit to being on protein. You have to have it, but I use it more with my clients as crowding out. If you've worked with a dietitian or somebody, or you're following somebody on social media who is like, you need 1 to 2 grams of protein per body weight, that is not going to help you live longer. But what it will do, and how it potentially could make you live longer, is if you've been eating crap, all processed stuff, crackers and cookies and cakes and everything that comes in a box and a bag and fast food, and then somebody works with you and says, you need to up your protein by a lot. What it does is it crowds out that crap. So everybody's going to lose weight. If you're going from, your diet is like womp womp to all of a sudden you're having these lean, amazing protein that's going to keep you full, you're going to not eat as much crap. The same thing can be true for fiber. If you're constantly saying, hey, I need to get in 10 different vegetables today, then what's going to happen is you're going to crowd out all of that other stuff. So, but I have to say, on days when I don't have leafy greens, like a raw leafy greens, I've had like maybe, a stir fry for lunch or a soup for lunch that's all vegetables. And I've gone out to dinner or something, or gone to somebody's house and they didn't happen to have something like a salad. I've got a salad bar in my refrigerator and I will just literally grab a handful of spinach and eat it. So leafy greens on a daily basis, you guys, you gotta get them in. There's too much evidence that you have to have them. So start adding them in, right? Great cut arms. Oh, thanks, Kristen. This is on a low protein diet. Low protein diet. Muscles are made in the gym. They're not made in the kitchen. Excess protein gets stored where, you guys? Fat gets stored as fat, usually around your midsection. So, yeah, you got to really think about that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you want to increase your collagen, I'm going to grab my collagen supplement. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to face you this way for a second. You can see all my little notes that I've got here. But yeah, this is super important. I'm going to also grab my calcium supplement, not my calcium supplement, my K2D3, because this is going to be important. So yeah, you can take a collagen supplement. This is my favorite. This is Modere. This happens to be Life. I do like the Life. I do like the Pure. I do like the Sport. I like all of them. But it's a collagen matrix that is bioavailable. So just adding this. Now remember, collagen does not come from plants. So if you're vegan, you're not going to want this. There's no such thing as collagen that's vegan. Excuse me. So if somebody is trying to sell you vegan collagen, that's like snake oil. Okay, it doesn't exist, does not exist. I live in Dubai. How many times can I do microneedling? Hey, Dubai, I'm going to be here again tomorrow at 12. Just open questions. I'll probably be microneedling my face. Join me tomorrow at 12 and I'll answer all questions regarding my skincare stuff, because yeah, this channel, one day I can be I can be doing like an all natural PRP filler, which I did yesterday. And then the next day I could be microneedling, and now we're talking about bone density, because aging is, it's like, it covers so many different things. How are you sleeping? What's your stress level? What are you eating? How are you exercising? What's your mindset? How is, all of that stuff is so connected, and skin is our largest organ. So I oftentimes talk about skin. I'll be here tomorrow at 12. I'll be doing some sort of demo. Ask me those questions then. Okay. Another way that you can get good collagen is the film on eggs. So when you do a hard-boiled egg, when that shell comes off and you've got that little layer of film, eat that. That's pure collagen. That's pure collagen. Eat that. You can also do a bone broth soup, right? Make a bone broth at home. It's kind of gross to do at home, I have to say. I buy my bone broth more than I like to make it, because you're just boiling animal bones and cartilages. Ugh, kind of gross. But that said, it's a good source for your bones. So black beans, any sort of beans. I've got lots of different bags of dried beans in there. I do beans a lot. Kidney beans, black beans, other types of beans they're high in calcium and other nutrients that are so important for your bones. Fruits and vegetables. I mean, you need all of that stuff, including vitamin C and potassium. It's all great for bone health. So overall, you need a diet that's rich in vitamin D. I'm going to talk about my supplements that I use in just a little bit, but I want to talk about the next thing, which is, so we just talked about food. I'm going to do supplements separately, but we just talked about food. Bone density on net, can it be reversed? Yes, bone density can't not reversed. Okay, and this kind of brings me to the next point. You're going to have your best chance at building the strongest bones of your life if you do it before you're in your 20s. That doesn't mean it's too late for anybody. It's never too late to start. But when those bones are first being formed, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you were an obese child, if you were somebody that was a heavier kid, you were carrying around 5 to 10 to 20 extra pounds as a child, you have built strong bones. Now let's hope that you've since that time, since you're past your 20s, that you've lost that weight and you've got these strong bones, and then you're exercising and you're doing weight-bearing exercises. But to build those bones, that's why kids need to be in sports. It's just, I can't even begin to say how important it is to get kids away from their phones and off of their asses and outside doing stuff, running and jumping and picking things up and all of that stuff, because that's where you're going to get these really strong bones. And then when we get older, we can start maintaining them, and we can add to that. But when you're looking at somebody who is obese, to carry around that extra weight is building strong bones. So although there's a ton of other medical concerns with obesity and with overweight children, those bones have been building and have had to support this excess frame, this excess amount of weight, and they become very dense and strong. That's one of I would say the only positive thing about being overweight is that your bones are denser. If you are somebody who's a small frame, I do not weigh a lot, you guys. I'm under 110. I'm 5'3". I'm under 110. So I need to add extra. I know that because I'm a woman, because I'm white, because I'm small framed and petite, I need to add extra weight to me to get my bones very, very strong. This is a weighted vest. We'll talk about that in a second. I've got a vibration plate you can see right there. I've got a vibration plate there that adds gravitational pull. That's another trick that I have. But when we're talking about weight training, you need to do, weight training equals stronger bones. Obesity equals stronger bones. So if you can make that connection of like, oh, I get it. I need to add weight to myself so that my body thinks I've got more to support. Therefore, it will stimulate those fibroblasts, stimulate those osteoblasts to produce more bone because you need it for support. So weight-bearing exercises is the number one trick to increase bone density. And you need to start now. And no, I do not mean walking. Using your own weight, unless you are an obese person and you want to, build stronger bones, your weight is going to do it for you. If you're overweight, you might not necessarily need to add things like this when you walk. Your back is stronger now, great. You might not need to because you're already carrying around this excess load. And then if you add more onto it, you could be talking about knee issues, joint issues, things like that, right? Just deterioration. But for the most part, the more weight you have, the stronger bones that you're going to have. So vegetarians, they thought for a while that they had weaker bones due to food. That's not what the research is showing. You can have very strong bones as a vegetarian. You can have very strong bones as a vegan. It's about the fact that if you're vegetarian and you're vegan, hopefully this is the light bulb moment. And if you thought you knew everything about bones, maybe you just learned something. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you're not at risk of decreased bone density because of the food that you're eating. If you're making sure that you're eating. There's protein in everything, right? There's protein in everything. Protein in every plant. There's protein in everything that we consume besides water. So most of us are getting enough protein. Ask your doctor when was the last time that they treated somebody for protein deficiency. 1800s? I don't know. It's been a while. I'm going to give you, I don't have a link to the vest, but maybe, you know what I'll do is after this show, I just got somebody said, can you get to the link to the vest and the vibration plate? The vibration plate that I use here, and you know what, I'll just show you because we are talking about weight-bearing exercise. Let me show you this vibration plate. It comes with like bands so that you can, do your whole workout at the same time. But honestly, there's a couple reasons why I love this. Let me just get it out into the, oh look, Ollie left a toy. There's a couple reasons why I love to work out with a vibration plate. Number one, this is going to sound superficial, but I'm going to say it anyways. It helps with cellulite because we're looking at lymphatic drainage. So when I did that live show on cellulite, I was on Morning on Merritt Street, which is on the Dr. Phil network, and I was on their live morning show talking about cellulite. And I talked about foam rolling, and I talked about various things. One of the reasons why I love this, outside of creating stronger bones, is that your lymphatics love vibration. So it kind of depuffs and it gets your lymphatics moving because you're vibrating. But let me just tell you a little bit about the science behind this. And then this particular device is on my linked tree. So after this is done, not now, you can either comment when I post this to my main feed, which I'm going to. You can comment vibrations and it'll give you a link to this. You can also go to the link in my bio and you'll click on that and you'll see the vibration plate there. And I think I can get you 20% off of this with Live Young 20. This is not a wonky thing that you can buy on Amazon, you guys. So if you're thinking this is $100, it's not. It's more like, I want to say with the discount about $500, but you will have this sucker for years. It is a solid piece. I had to have my husband bring it down because I didn't want to. try to carry it downstairs. It's a solid piece of equipment. Let me tell you how this helps with bone density. Have you ever been on a tilt-a-whirl, like if you went to like a county fair and you got on one of those things that kind of spun you around like this and it glues you right to the wall and you're spinning? That's increasing your gravitational pull against that. Does that make sense? When you step on a vibration plate, because it's off kilter, you're activating your core. So a couple things are happening here. You're activating your core, so it's helping with balance, it's helping with all of that, but it's pulling your gravitational down, that's not what I mean to say. It's increasing your gravitational pull because it's pulling you down. Your body is constantly trying to get that homeostasis, right? But in doing that, it really creates a stronger torque, like the G-force, and it pulls you down. So two things, great for lymphatic, but it also increases your gravitational pull. So if you're somebody that, let's say, you're older, you don't really think I'm gonna go to the gym and pick up weights, just by stepping on a vibration plate alone, without doing anything else, just stepping on it and staying on there for 5 to 10 minutes, you're increasing your weight-bearing exercises. You're increasing your weight-bearing load. Does that make sense? Think of it as the tilt-a-whirl. So I'm just going to turn this on for a second. I'll show you guys. Oops, turn it off. Not what I meant to do. Start. Come on. There we go. Right? So when I'm standing here, there's nothing else I can do but to hold my stomach in, right? Bend your legs a little bit, make sure that your core is tight. So this is vibrating, which is helping with lymphatic drainage. I did a whole live about lymphatic drainage with Lymph Love Club, and we learned at that point that your lymph system loves vibration. But if you're doing, let's say for example, you're doing this just for bone density, and I have this on a lower setting right now so that I'll be able to talk. I'll see when I get off of this, and if you have a vibration plate at home, you can see when you get off of it, you have this feeling of being lighter. Because in this time that we're standing on it, we're experiencing a greater gravitational pull. Our lymph is all working. Our core is tight. Any weights that I pick up, or if I use the bands that could attach to this, it's increasing what I'm picking up because my gravity has increased from this. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope so. Does that make sense? Yeah. Who would have thought that a vibration plate can actually increase your gravitational pull, which is increasing your weight-bearing exercise? So get on there with some weights in your hands. It kicks everything else up. Kicks everything else up. Okay. I'm going to take a little mushroom coffee here. Okay. So weight training. Yeah, you got to pick up some weights, you guys. No, I do not mean walking unless you're obese, unless you're carrying around extra weight, right? Unless you're carrying around extra weight. When I get done here, you can just put in the comment section when I post this to my main feed vibrations, or you can look in the linked tree for that. This, to me, if you've got bone density issues, you got to get one of these things. You got to get a vibration plate or a weighted vest and get your butt out walking. So what does that do? Stimulates bone growth. When you put stress on the bones through weight bearing, it stimulates that growth, that bone growth. So those osteoblasts, right? It creates new bone. It reduces bone loss. So it calms down those osteoclasts, those ones that like eat away at bone. And it strengthens the muscles. So the strong muscles support the bones. It's all, you decrease your likelihood of falls and injuries when you've got more muscle mass. We know that everything is connected. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that If you're increasing your bone density with weight-bearing exercise, you're increasing your metabolism because you're building more muscle mass and muscle calorie eating machines. So metabolically, you're going to be healthier. It's very rare for you to work on one part of your body, let's say your bones, and have nothing else be benefited, right? When you're doing something good for your body, whatever it is, if you're doing something good for your heart, your bones are going to benefit. If you're doing something good for your muscles, your bones are going to benefit. You're doing something great for your bones, your muscles, your metabolism, all of that stuff's going to benefit, right? Our body is connected. Nothing is separate. So that it improves balance and coordination, all of that stuff. And obviously, like I said, your overall health. And we talked about the vibration plate. There's a lot of studies on vibration plates. The side question, what mushroom coffee do you like? I've tried so many, tempting to replace my coffee. I like Rise, R-Y-Z-E. That's what I break my fast with every day. So when and I'll get back to the bone density in just 1 second. I just needed a little bit of a break too. I like Rise. It's got a bunch of different mushrooms in it. And many of you guys know I've been doing intermittent fasting for 30 plus years. So I don't eat breakfast and then I work out on an empty stomach. If you guys missed that live show I did on my healthy aging, I think it was Get Ready With Me. Look in my story highlights, you guys, on my live shows and look at the live I did in real time where I took 1 hour from the time I woke up. I brought you guys along with me, right? Right along with me in everything that I did from the time I woke up until I got out the door to exercise. So check out that live show. You'll see that there's a lot of stuff that I do for overall health and everything is completely combined. Okay, so there's a lot of studies on the vibration plate. And the studies are showing that you can use it for 10 to 20 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a week, and it can help increase bone density and reduce the risk of fractures. That's it. You got a mom, you got somebody that you know, somebody just asked about transgender. That's a really interesting question. I'm going to scroll back because that's we're supportive of everybody, and I want to see what was that. Is it okay if I become a transgender woman or transgender woman? Yes or no? You can, whatever your heart desires. It's your life. Do whatever you want. Okay, you inspire me to stand on a vibration plate while listening to you. Yes. That's honestly, you guys, if you could just do that. Now listen, Kimberly, I think that was Kimberly who said that. Add the little bands, right? Get some upper body strength while you're doing that, because shoulder tears, that kind of stuff, especially for women, we don't have a lot of upper body strength. We're very strong in our lower body, but our upper body, don't depend on a man to reach for something on an upper shelf for you when you get older. Keep your body moving, keep your body active, right? Build the muscles in your arms. Be able to do a push-up. You can push yourself off the floor. There's so many different things that are all interconnected and become so much more important as we age. So you've got somebody who's got bone density problems in your life, make this suggestion because that's a game changer. To exercise on something like that is a game changer. Okay, now we're going to get into the weighted vest. Let me show you guys this. Oh. This is, I think it's a 10-pound vest. You don't, when you're doing this, now when you're doing I think they call it trekking, or I don't know what it is, where you're just carrying a giant heavy backpack for a while, that to me sounds like torture. If I'm going to be honest with you. But to have a vest like this on, that's weighted, that's around 10% of your body weight, this is a great thing to be able to just multitask, right? If you don't have time to work out that day, which book a one-on-one with me, I'll find the time for you. Nobody should have the excuse, I don't have the time to work out. Follow that one whole live show that I did that was in real time that took you through an hour of getting ready with me, and then tell me again you don't have time for something. You got to set up a conveyor belt of health to get the shit in. You just do. Think the Jetsons. Remember the cartoon, The Jetsons, where it's like he went on a conveyor belt and all of a sudden he was dressed and his hair was combed and he got into the thing and it was eaten. You can set that up at home. If you have trouble with that, just DM me the word coaching. Book a one-on-one with me. It will take you literally one session with me for me to change your entire morning to where you get this stuff in before all of life's detours and roadblocks start happening to you in midday. For those people who their goal is, I'm going to exercise after work, the number of times that is a fail versus somebody that exercises first thing when they get, somebody said I love the Jetsons, first thing when you get up, you are more likely to get it consistently done when you do not let the day pass by, because life happens and everybody's got all these different roadblocks. I've got a gazillion things that happen throughout the day, but I've made a point to where early in the morning, I get my light exposure. I've got my cold plunge. I've got my red light therapy. I've done some sort of thing for my skin. You know, I've dry brushed. I've delayed my caffeine. I've got my whole 32 ounces of green tea. I get out the door to exercise. You can get it done. You just got to set up that George Jetson conveyor belt of health. I can help you do that. When I post this to my main feed, just comment the word coaching, or you can also find that on my linked tree in the bio along with the vibration plate. Okay, so a weighted vest. This actually kind of helps with your posture as well. If you're somebody who said like, I haven't worked with you yet, Darnell, and I can't get in the exercise in the morning, and now I've had all these roadblocks and I can't get it in now, stick this sucker on. Cook dinner while you're doing it. Walk around with it. You're adding 10% extra body weight. So for me, this is 10 pounds because you don't really want to do more to wear this on a consistent basis. You don't want to do more than 10% of your body weight because you don't want your knees and things like that. So for me, this is a 10 pound. You literally just find out 10% of your body weight. Maybe it's 12 pounds. Maybe it's 15 pounds. These come in various different weights, right? So for me, I just got this. I've been testing it out. I'm going to do a big giant walk later, but it's adding, just by me walking alone isn't enough. Like I said earlier, unless you're overweight, unless you're obese, then please call me because I can help you. But walking alone for most people is not going to increase your bone density. You need the extra weight to stimulate those osteoblasts to make more bone. Okay, so weightlifting, weight-bearing exercise, super, super, super important. And by weight-bearing exercises, I don't mean your own body weight. Again, unless you're overweight. Then you start there and you get your weight down and then you add weight. Yeah, what would you recommend to start with? This is a 10 pound. But it depends on your body weight. So if let's say you weigh 150 pounds, get a 15 pound vest. You weigh 100 pounds, get a 10 pound vest. You weigh 112 pounds, get a 12 pound, you weigh 120 pounds, get a 12 pound vest. It's 10% of your body weight is a good place to start. That's a really good place to start. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, we gotta go. Okay, you guys are not gonna like this one. You got to limit your alcohol and caffeine. That's if you're really having trouble. Limit your alcohol and caffeine because alcohol increases your chance of osteoporosis, osteopenia, which is on our way to osteoporosis, right? So decrease your alcohol. That's 1 glass for men, no more than 2 for women. Now the studies are coming out that there's no amount of alcohol that is good for you. Second thing, or just like a no-brainer, quit smoking. If you are still smoking, you got to take a good hard look in the mirror. And I mean vaping, I mean marijuana, I mean cigarettes, all of that. Anything that's going into your lungs are so fragile, you guys. Marsha said, ugh, I knew that was coming. Yeah. I mean, I don't even need to go into that. It's just stupid. Okay? Don't smoke. Dear Darnell, somebody just said, what is the best against water retention? There's lymphatic drainage, right? So you got to move. Movement. What's the best thing for water retention? Movement. Move. Walk, run, move. Get on a vibration plate. That's the best thing. Dry brushing. Red light therapy increases circulation. All that stuff. And then consider supplements. So if you're not getting enough calcium in your food, remember we're not taking calcium supplements anymore, but if you're not getting enough calcium in your food and vitamin D from your diet, you want to consider supplements. Now you're not taking a calcium supplement, you get that through food, but this is my Osteomax. You guys, I don't plug my vitamins a lot, but I'm telling you, I would not have come out with this line if I didn't feel that there was a need for it, and if I didn't feel uncomfortable taking anything else on the market. I'm very particular about what I put in my body. I made this line for me. I didn't even make it for you guys. I made this line for me so that I knew what I was taking in my body. This is Osteomax. This is the Live Young Osteomax. This is K2 as MK7. That's important. So when you're looking at right now, if you go to the doctor and they say you've got bone density problems, they're not going to put you on a calcium supplement. They're going to put you on a K2D3 supplement. But this part is super important as MK7 because MK7 takes the calcium running through our bloods, make sure it's not deposited into our arteries, directs it as if it's like an airplane coming in, right? An airplane's coming in and it goes, go to the bone, go to the bone. That's what MK7 does. So this is K2 as MK7 plus D3. You can get this, you can DM me the word, what is it, supplements? Yeah. You can DM me the word supplements. It'll take you to my Shopify page. But this is next level. This is not something that you can buy at Costco. It's not something you can buy at CVS. This is a very pure, very strong supplement and it's small. It's like a little, for those of you who are like, oh, I don't like taking a big pill. It's not a very big pill. You take one a day. That's it. One a day. So that's my Live Young Osteomax. I want to say rock hard bones, but we learned early on that bones aren't hard like that, right? They're living. They bend a little bit. This makes functionally younger bones. Yeah. Okay. And then let's see. You got to regulate your hormones, right? We know that I did a lot of live shows on with guest stars on hormone regulation and estrogen deficiency, menopause, all of that stuff. Our estrogen is the hormone that protects our bones as women, our bones, our brain, our heart. So if you are not somebody who wants to do hormone replacement therapy, you have to be super, super careful because our estrogen is protecting our bones. It's protecting our bones. And what that is it's basically, I don't want to get into it's just too much science. I don't want to get into the detail of that. Just know, go back and look at those live shows, right? If you are in estrogen decline, you don't want to just mask all of those hormone symptoms, just get rid of the hot flashes. That's not doing anything to protect your bones, your brain, your heart. And your bones will continue to decline by a rate of 1 to 3% when you are in estrogen decline. It's completely related. Like, it's not correlational. When your estrogen is declining, so if I would say if you are 40 years old, go get a bone density test. And we're going to talk about that, the DEXA scans and all that stuff. Go get a bone density test. Make sure that your hormones are okay. If not, optimize those hormones because especially if it runs in your family, osteoporosis or osteopenia runs in your family, If you're a woman, if you're white, if you're Caucasian, if you're slim, if you're petite, you know, if your diet is shit, like if you're not lifting weights, if you're sedentary, that might be a sign that I need to get off of here. Okay, so all of that stuff. Check your thyroid, because too much thyroid hormone can cause bone loss. So check your thyroid. When I say check your hormones, it's not just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. It's thyroid. You got to do that. Control your stress. That's another way. Because cortisol is a hormone that helps regulate your stress response, that inflammation in the body. Chronic high levels of stress equal chronic high levels of cortisol lead to increase in bone loss. Sleep. You gotta sleep. You gotta get enough sleep. Osteoblasts are working while you sleep. So you're making bone while you sleep. You're not just making it while you're awake. All of that stuff, the regenerative stuff, happens while you sleep. So if you missed that live show I did on how to get your best night's sleep ever, that is in my story highlights on Instagram under live shows. Click on that. It'll bring you to that link because they're all in my feed. I post all of these shows that I do on Saturday to my main feed. So this will be posted to my main feed afterwards. So you can let's just do this. You can put in the comment section collagen, and it'll give you the link to the collagen. You can put in the comment section supplements, and it'll give you the link to my supplement line. You can put in the comment section vibrations. It'll give you the link to the vibration plate. And then this weighted vest, I'll try to put in my Amazon storefront. Just give me a little bit of time to do that, but I'll put this in my Amazon storefront under exercise because I'm really loving this thing. Okay, so who should be tested and how do we get tested? The DEXA scan is like the most common form of testing. It's very simple to do. It doesn't normally cost a lot of money. You can get them done with under $200. There's some mobile services as well. Don't put the vibrations here, Linda Lake. When I post this to my main feed, put it in the comment section, vibrations, and then that's automated. Otherwise, I'm just copying and pasting all day long. So some of these things are automated. Collagen is automated. My supplements are automated. Vibrations is automated. And then the rest you can find in my linked tree. So if your DEXA scan is a -1, that is an indication that you have osteopenia. You got to get your shit together, right? You got to start working on this stuff, and everybody needs to start working on this stuff because 1 in 2 women, when you get older, is going to suffer from a bone density type of fracture. That's a bad spiral to go down when you're older because it affects everything. Everything's connected, right? So that will affect your cardiovascular health. It will affect your sleep. It will affect your stress. It will affect everything. So it's super important. If you have a -2.5, you have osteoporosis. And your doctor will go over all that stuff. But women over the age of 40, in terms of like who needs to be tested, if you're a woman and you're over the age of 40, go get your DEXA scan. If you're younger than that, but you have risk factors like you had early onset menopause or low body weight, right? If you're very slim, I would say younger than that, like 30, maybe 35, go get your DEXA scan. If you're a vegetarian, not because of the food that you're eating that's going to require you to go in for earlier testing, but because vegetarians are normally just statistically smaller in size, less weight, because vegetables are good for us, good for our metabolism, good for our healthy weight management. But you are a little bit smaller compared to the average American if you are vegetarian or vegan. So go in earlier for your DEXA scan. If you've had a fracture recently and you're under 40, but you still had a fracture, have them test your bones. Have them test your bones. If you're in estrogen decline, if you know that you're menopausal, immediately. The minute you think about hormone replacement therapy, you should already be thinking about your bones because your bones are declining by 1 to 3% per year, depending on your lifestyle, right? What are you doing to increase those bones, that bone density? And then, there's a lot of medications, and I'm just going to end with this. Be very careful. you got to really weigh the pros and cons with medications when it comes to bone health. This is going to be way better for you if you can head it off at the pass and do things like this, an Osteomax, those K2 vitamins, the D3 vitamins, weight-bearing exercises, stop your drinking, stop the smoking, make sure you're having calcium-rich foods. Things like that are going to be better if you can do that than taking the medications. And the reason is because medications tend to stop the osteoclasts. The osteoclasts are those cells that we need that break down the old bone. Remember, bone is always regenerating. The old stuff gets eaten away, the new stuff gets formed depending on our lifestyle and what we're doing, right? To increase that. But the medications basically stop those osteoclasts from breaking down the old bones, and we need that to still happen if at all possible. Okay, that's all I got, you guys. I'll be here again tomorrow for any sort of questions, and I'll probably also be, microneedling something. So I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon on Instagram Live. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know you have many choices on what you can do on a Saturday, and I see you, and I'm grateful that I have you as an audience. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.